is Gaia Athena, and the past few days I've been doing a readathon with my friends. In this readathon I read quite a few graphical works, mostly manga, and in this video I'm going to review them. I finished off several series and I'll be talking about those. This will probably be a longer video because it's not a book review of one book, but of the books I finished the past few days. So yeah. So a couple of friends of mine and we do a monthly readathon and have been doing this for a while, and every month there are a couple of days that we do this readathon, and the aim for this is just to read more than we usually do. There are no like challenges like you see on BookTube, and there is no theme for this readathon that we do. It's just me and a couple of friends. We don't all like the exact same kind of books, and in my case for readathons I have to kind of read graphical works or books with more illustrations, or children's books or picture books or things like that, because if I read a much more denser book, let's say an adult fantasy book, I find that after, I don't know, 50 or 100 pages or less than that, I have to stop and process things, and so that's not really, it doesn't work in a readathon. Anyway, let's get into the book reviews. So the first book I read was Princess Jellyfish Volume 8. This is by Akiko Higashimura, and there are 9 volumes in total in this series, and the past few months I've been reading a volume each month. I think that means I started in March, but I may be wrong. But anyway, I've been reading 1 volume each month. This month I read Volume 8, but Volume 8 is the second to last volume. The last volume is Volume 9. This one. And just 8 ended quite suspensefully, so I was like, well, I might as well read Volume 9 anyway. The November readathon is, as of this recording, scheduled for a weekend that I'm not available much. I don't know yet if it's going to be moved or not, but anyways, I decided maybe I'll skip it. I'm just gonna see how things go, what my friends say. So I read both volumes 8 and 9, and I'll show you the rest of the volumes. You know, you don't realise how hard it is to hold a whole stack of books up when you just watch booktubers do it, but now that I'm trying to do it myself, I have to say it is quite difficult. So these are all the volumes. I don't know if you can see that all that well. Yep. This series is about a group of 5 Japanese women, and they're all living together in this house. I'm not sure if it's like a house or what to call it exactly, but they each have like their own rooms in the house, and they're all geeks and have their own special interests. Each of them likes something different. Like if you were to really pick a main character, it'd be Tsukimi, and she really likes Jellyfish. But I'm not sure how much to say exactly without spoiling it. I will say this series involves also the fashion industry, but yeah, I don't really want to spoil too much. It also involves cross-dressing, let's keep it at that. Yeah, anyway, so I really enjoyed this series. My boyfriend bought the anime, so he's seen that first, and then I decided, let's read the books. So I did that this year, and I really liked them. I think the anime series is only the first 2 books. And so it goes on way beyond that. The TV series kind of ends prematurely, but it does tie it up with a nice ending as well. And anyway, I really liked reading this series. I will say I didn't understand all the references in the series because, yeah, of course, it being a Japanese, it's translated from Japanese, so there are a lot of references that are a bit lost on me. But in the back of each book there are translation notes. I don't know if you can see that, hopefully. And a lot of the references are explained there, which I think is very nice. But yeah, anyway, I really liked this series. I've probably been rambling about it enough. Then the next book I read is With the Light, Volume 8 by Keiko Tobe. And I have been rereading this series this year. I have already read all 8 volumes before. So I read them in 2012, beginning of 2013. I'm going to show you the other volumes as well. This is going to be an even bigger pain because these books are big. Can you see that? Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of them and they're quite big. Most of the volumes, so there are 8 volumes in total, most of the volumes are like it's a bind up of 2 Japanese volumes, I believe. Yeah, so each of these books is a bind up of 2 Japanese volumes, except volume 8, which is also, I don't know if that really stands out, but that's thinner than the other ones, because volume 8, yeah, that's just one Japanese volume, because unfortunately the author passed away before she could finish the series. And so volume 8 contains a couple of like normal manga chapters, and after that some storyboards. Like, I don't know if you can really see that, but so the series is unfinished. I'm going to put the rest of these books down now because this is heavy. Let me just get volume 1 out. This series follows a family. It's mostly about the mother and her son, but it's a family, the mother, the father. They have 2 children. They have a son who is on the autistic spectrum, and they have a daughter. And in the beginning of book 1, the son is just born, but then, and the daughter wasn't born yet because she's younger. But as the books go on, the children age, and the series is kind of about, yeah, raising an autistic child. I don't know if you can read that depending on your screen quality and everything, but so the series is basically about the mother raising the autistic child. So the focus is mostly on her and on Hikaru, who is the son. Now so like I said, this was a reread. I reread volumes 1 and 2 at, I want to say, the end of last year. Maybe November, December, something like that. And then a couple of months ago I decided, let's reread a volume of this series once a month. So I've been reading a volume a month for the past few months. I'm not sure since when now, but if I think about it for a minute, then I can figure that out. So this month was the turn of the last volume, volume 8. This is not volume 8, sorry. The last volume, volume 8. So I read that this month, and it was really nice reading this series again. There aren't a lot of books that I'm aware of that talk about a because you see, the son on the autistic spectrum is not very vocal. He can speak a bit, but I guess you would call him more non-vocal than, well, vocal, I guess. He can say some things, but he doesn't speak a lot. My boyfriend bought this series because he thought I'd really like it, and I do. The only thing I will say, so this is written by a woman who has had herself a son with autism, I think. But because of that, you get more the point of view of the mother in the books than of the son, if that makes sense. So you don't see as much the son's point of view, but yeah, well, anyway, I liked the series. Enough rambling. I'm sorry. I'm really tired today, and to be honest, didn't really want to film today, but I wanted to get this done, and also the next few days, I don't have as much opportunity to film. Let's put it that way. So I need to do this now, even if I don't quite feel like it. But maybe some of you can relate. I don't know. After that, it was time for Chobits, and so I read the next volume, volume 5. This was the next volume for me to read. I've been reading 1 volume a month for the past few months. But I finished volume 5, and then I was thinking, well, I just finished off Princess Jellyfish, and I finished off With the Light. So I felt a little crazy, and I felt like, why not finish off Chobits as well? Because there are 8 volumes in total. Let me get them all. And like I said, I might not be able to do November Read-a-thon, and then December is the last one, then it's the end of the year, so I wouldn't have been able to finish the whole series of this year with one a month. And not that I particularly have to finish it off this year, but like it just feels better that way. Then I can put in like a yearly reading summary. Like I read this series this year and it was or wasn't one of my favourites, and like if I've got like 1 or 2 books that I haven't read, then yeah, anyway. Oh, is that the right way around? Yeah, I think so. I had them upside down with the other ones, but then they're in the wrong order upside down, so you gotta see them like this. Yeah, so this series, yeah, you may recognise some of these series if you've watched the previous month's video and the one before that. So this series, yeah, it takes place in like a future where people have what's called postocoms, and they're kind of like Android personal computers. So it's a personal computer, but it's like it's an Android, and so it looks like a human mostly, other than the ears. I don't know if you can see that. And our main character, Hideki, our main character, oh sorry, this is written by Clamp, I totally forgot to say. The main character, Hideki, can't afford a postocom, but he finds one laying by the trash one day, and he decides to take her home with him, and the story follows on from there. So there are 8 volumes in this series, and I saw this series before as an anime. My boyfriend has got the anime of this, and these are also his books, and he always told me that the books were really close to the anime, or rather the anime follows the book closely, and we watched the anime already, so he felt like that wasn't a huge like there wasn't a huge, like it didn't give me much extra reading the books, but I decided to read them anyway. And I have to agree with him, the anime series follows the manga very closely, but I did enjoy reading this series, you know, taking the story in like in a different way. So yeah, I mean, I kind of knew what was going to happen because I've seen the TV series, but I still enjoyed it. Yeah, I will say this is an adult book series. So there is mention of, like, nothing is showed, but like it's talked about. I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't want to spoil anything. Let's just say, if you're 12, you probably shouldn't be reading these yet. I call them adult books for a reason. So, but there is nothing nasty there or anything. Anyway, I'm rambling on way too long. Let's continue. Oh, I've filmed a lot already, footage wise, so let me get on with it. So next up then was Bunny Drop Volume 2 by Yumi, Unita, I think. Unita, I'm not sure how to pronounce. So last month I read Volume 1, and maybe you saw a book review of that, and maybe not. So now I read Volume 2, and I also felt a little bit crazy, so I decided to read Volumes 3 and 4 as well. These are all the ones I have, because I had heard the later ones get a bit weird, so I decided to just get the first 4 volumes and then leave it at that. With this I have also seen, let me put you in the right order. With this I have also seen the anime version, which I think is called Usagi Drop, which might be the Japanese name, I think. I'll have to look that up. So this is all 4 of them, and they are, the anime is quite a lot like this. I'm not sure exactly, I can't quite remember if there is more after this in the anime series, but I'm planning to maybe rewatch the anime series sometime. So if I do that, then, well, then I'll know that. But anyway, I'm probably gonna leave it at this with these books for now, but depending on how it goes with the rewatching, if there's much more after this or not, how I feel about it. Long story, it doesn't matter. Oh, actually, I haven't even said what these are about. That's terrible. This series is about a 30-year-old man whose grandfather dies, and the grandfather leaves behind a child. She is 6 years old, and no one in the Kichi, that's the 30-year-old man, No one in his family wants to care for the child, so he does it. He takes her home with him. And so it's basically this 30-year-old single man raising a 6-year-old girl. Or at least in the beginning of the book she's 6 years old. I think she is 7 in one of these. But anyway, that's what it's about. So the last book I read for this readathon was something new by Lucy Knisley. I had wanted to actually read more books than this, but on Sunday I was very tired, so I only read this one. And I only read the second half of this book just before my bedtime. So this is a graphic memoir written by a woman about her wedding to her husband and how they planned it, and well, that's basically what it's about. I've read a couple of her other books. So a couple of months ago I read Relish, and the month after that I read Age of License, and the month after that I read Displacement. That was last month. You may have seen this one, book review of this, and I also talked about this one in the review of the month before that. And well, the month I read this I didn't have a booktube channel yet. So anyway, so I've read 3 of her other books, and I think there is one more, but it was unavailable at the bookshops, the websites that I tried. So I'm gonna have to leave that one for now. This one is about her wedding and the planning, and I found it quite interesting. I really liked the artwork in it. Oh, I totally haven't showed you any artwork of any of the manga. I was going to, but anyway, so the artwork in this is very similar to these ones. So Relish is about her growing up with 2 parents who cooked a lot and worked in a restaurant and stuff. And then these 2, Displacement and Age of License, are travelogues. So it's graphic travel memoirs, and something new is, yeah, a wedding memoir, I guess. Although most of the book is about the planning, and it's only the last part of the book that is the actual wedding and the aftermath. One thing I really liked about this book is that Lucy didn't like some of the patriarchal traditions, and so she and her husband, is his name John? Yeah. So she and her husband John, or husband to be at the time, they decided to do their own thing, and I really like that. For example, rather than the father giving the bride away, both Lucy's parents gave her away and both John's parents gave him away, and I thought that was very nice. And so there were other things as well that they did, or that Lucy did, and I really like that. That speaks to me, because I believe in like equity between man and woman, or men and women, between everybody basically, because I think that all this old-fashioned patriarchal, you know. Anyway, I've really agreed with Lucy. Anyway, I think in a marriage between 2 people, they should be in an equal relationship, that both of them are just as important. And anyway, let's talk about the book now. So I really like that aspect of it. I also like that Lucy did a lot to save on money, and she even showed how she did. She handmade some things. She called in the help of a lot of friends and of local, what do you call it, like local artisans and woodsmen, and well, I'm not sure exactly of the exact English terms. I can't remember that right now. But I really like all of these things. The venue they chose to have on the land of her mother. And so anyway, I thought that was very nice. The book states, and this was published in 2016, that the average American wedding, the average US wedding, costs about $30,000, which I thought was a lot of money. Now, I don't know if you can compare the US wedding prices much with here. Another thing that really stood out to me is that some of the traditions she discusses, or some of the things in fact that she did decide to do, I'd never even heard of or like encountered. So this could be two things. It could be that that's maybe American, and in the Netherlands we have a little bit of a different culture, so we don't have some of these things. But it's also possible, because I have only ever attended one wedding, and I was 10 years old. That was my aunt's wedding, and so I don't remember a whole lot from it, given that I was 10. And I've never been to another wedding. My sister is engaged and she's going to get married, but she doesn't want to talk about it a whole lot. And that's still, it's somewhere in the future. Anyway, so the point I'm trying to make is I don't know a lot about weddings. Most of what I know, other than my memories, is what I see in movies, mostly American movies, and what I read in books. Because I have read quite a few books. Well, not quite a few. I've read some books where there is a wedding. Mostly sort of rom-com, chick lit kind of books. Yeah, it's mostly those kinds of books. I've read a couple that have weddings in them. But of course you don't know how accurate that is. And even more in movies, I think. Many movies are probably unrealistic in some regards. Anyway, so that's not the fault of the book, because maybe these are, I'm sure she doesn't just make it up, so I'm sure these are valid traditions. It was just that I was surprised by some of these things, because I'd never heard or know that these things were a thing, if that makes sense. But that's probably my own lack of experience and ignorance more than the book. So yeah, I really like the book. Yeah, I would say I like Relish a lot as well, and so I like these two the best. We do it like this, and then the travelogues a little bit less. I mean, I still like them, but if I had to pick favorites, these two I liked more. I guess if I have to pick a favorite, I'd probably be Relish, but it could also be because it's the first one I read, so it's hard to compare because the subjects are totally different. I don't have, it was nice to experience the wedding through Lucy's eyes in this memoir. So yeah, I hope to experience my sister's wedding in the future, and I don't know about my brother. Maybe he'll also get married in the future. He has a girlfriend. He has a partner, so I don't know. And maybe my boyfriend, my partner, and I will also get married in the future. It may happen. We do plan on getting married eventually, but that's not what we're discussing right now. But I guess I always like to give a personal take on the books. So I don't know a whole lot about weddings, apparently, and I do wish that I could talk to my sister a bit more about it, but she wants to kind of keep it a secret, so until she's like planned more stuff. So yeah, I do have a good connection with my sister otherwise though, but let me put it that way. So it's not that we don't talk or anything, it's just, yeah. I don't know, I don't totally understand her reasoning, but that's not really part of this video. I have a good bond with both my sister and my brother, so. Anyway, so yeah, I like this graphic memoir. Let's put it down now. I've been holding up books long enough. Right, that was all the books, and it was plenty. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. So for this video, I decided to put all the graphic reads that I read during this readathon in one video. If you have a very specific opinion about single book reviews versus like putting all these in this one video, feel free to let me know in the comments. I think it's nice to group all these graphical sort of reads together, because I know there's also people who don't really like to read that sort of stuff, and that's fair enough. Like I said, I need to read this kind of thing for the readathon, because with much more denser books I find it really difficult. I need more processing power, more processing time I mean. But feel free to let me know, well, what you think of the sort of format and stuff. I plan to do single book reviews for the rest of the books I read, like the rest of the month, because this was 4 days, but of course all the series I read them throughout the last, like, the whole year. So yeah. Okay, I'm just rambling now, and this video is pretty long enough. So let me stop it here now. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Let me just quickly show you my manga bookcase that we've recently, well, made is not the correct word, but we recently put all of my boyfriend's manga in my library room, which is these 2 rooms that we're in. So all of these first 5 shelves, that's his manga, and then these 2 shelves are my manga, and then this is some other books for my boyfriend. I thought I'd give a quick shot, and then now I'm gonna turn around, do it slowly, focus, and then these are, oh, let's not fall over, all of the graphic novels that I've read in the past, I don't know, years, I don't know, other than library books, because obviously I don't own library books, so yeah. But anyway, these are all my read graphic novels and memoirs that so the top, I should say, so these are the graphic novels, and then these are mostly graphic memoirs. So this is non-fiction and that's fiction. I have some more unread graphic novels. Do I have a graphic memoir as well? Anyway, so I have some more unread graphical works, but they're not here because I have them lined up for the next. I have them lined up for the next readathons, so that's why they're not here. I have actually near my computer. Let me see if I can show you my face again. That'd be better. Near my computer, I have some shelves, and I leave some unread books there. Most of my books are in my library, but I have a couple of unread books also in the bakery near my computer. So just to let you see, these are some of the graphic works I still have to read. I think most of these are graphic novels, and there's like something behind there as well. The Amulet series is behind there. I've read a couple of those, but not the whole book set. So anyway, so these are some of my unread books. I have a lot of unread books. I'm sure a lot of booktubers do. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.